7 o'clock, I'm going to call the meeting to order. Wayne, looks like you're up first with your RTPs.
Yes, I have 3 of them. First one is going to be 1547 for 3 pagers that I sent out for repair, and 6 charging cords for the other 6 chargers, for a total of $650. And then RTP 1548 is a auto soap dispenser for the new washing machines that I think really needs to be put on there so that we're at least dispensing detergent at a portion that it's supposed to be for the year, and that's going to be $370 for that unit. And then the other RTP is 1549 to replenish the inventory on the hoods, extrication gloves, and fire gloves, for a total of $1,600. Those are my 3 RTPs.
Anybody have any questions for them?
Those hoods and stuff, that's just a restock?
Yes.
Next, we have RTP 1650 to AMR by EMT vote for Dustin Mazelowski. Any questions, comments, concerns? RTP 1652 to Firelog Publishing for Secretary and Treasurer's Manual for $265. Questions? It looks like Tom has an equipment request for uniforms.
Yeah, 3 complete uniforms, 2 pairs of pants, 3 belts. Estimated cost is like $450. They're about $100 a work uniform, so I figured 3 complete, and the 2 pants would be about $400. I don't know what the belts would be. I can't imagine it being $50.
Who are they for?
Dunlap, Bertle, Oatman, Seco, Halloran, Perkins, and Roberts.
That's got more than 3 people.
Well, those are the people who need them. The 3 complete uniforms are Dunlap.
Oh, I got, other people just need a piece and a part?
Yeah.
Why doesn't he just go through me? Why is he going through Tom?
Given, I don't know.
I mean, Tom shouldn't be bothering himself with uniforms.
Well, all I know is nobody understands the new policy. But I do have a copy for it if you want to order it.
And what happened to the uniforms that some of these people got last year?
I don't know. I mean,
I'm not
this is the thing that
asking.
was given to me. That's all I can tell you.
It's ridiculous.
Cody Truck?
Cody Truck, did we receive an invoice yet, Joanne? Okay.
She said she would email it when I was
Okay.
ready. She's got all the pertinent information she needs.
It was, if you notice, you saw it, we took it out of service, we're unplugging it. It was a simple fan within the air conditioner. Nothing major. The fan was disabled. Still some air conditioning in the back. Once we get everything taken care of, I want to have the fan motor replaced. But right now the truck's in service, and I'll worry about that once we get the transaction done and everything. So we're moving forward. But is this, I think that we need, underneath that, I think we need to discuss the project regarding this. Is that the right form? Okay, so we all agreed to do the Cody truck. I made the deal with Cody, just sent us the paperwork. We still have to work with Chief Perkins for the other one, and we gotta figure out what we're gonna do. talking with Chief Perkins. He would like, if I'm not mistaken, the DeWitt rig is what you would prefer. That makes sense for your fleet. Is that accurate statement?
That's right. And in fact, I had an email from DeWitt Chief today. They have their board meeting tonight. And he's asking the board to give him permission to negotiate the price for that truck. Right now, they're looking at between 25 and 30.
So I guess at this point, we as a board should decide what we're gonna do. He needs, as the original statement he gave us, there's options that we had. He's spoken about what he would like. Me personally, I'd like to back him, but we need to discuss it as a board.
I also have a bunch of, not a bunch, but probably half a dozen printouts that one of the firemen went online from various companies, anywhere from $45,000 to $100,000 on used trucks. They're all in that vintage that we're looking at.
My thought, after thinking about what makes sense for us, because I think Jack brought up some valid points, buying some older equipment, you run a calculated risk. But I was thinking, we're in a position right now, we're spending, to buy the Cody truck, roughly $12,000. Or that's what it is, that's what they're taking, $12,000. The goal was to keep that for a couple of years. We got a little bit of money in lettering, in miscellaneous, so I'm figuring 15,000 range that's gonna cost us, outside and done. Then you look at this DeWitt rig, so he said between 25 and 30,000. Let's go with the number 30, just in that I would think would include the lettering. So we're at 30 there, so we're at 42,000. The reason why I think that number is important is we are also in a pretty serious situation with our squad problem. Squad 1 specifically, we all know that the box is basically falling off the chassis. If we were to go with the 42,000 program for the 2 engines, we did discuss, Becky, correct me if I'm wrong, we were considering we had about 100 to 125,000 for this vehicle problem. Is that right? Is that an accurate number?
150, yeah.
Okay, so if we did the 42,000, that left us some money to possibly handle the squad as well and still be within that number that we were willing to work with. And it doesn't, correct me if I'm wrong, it doesn't affect the sale of the 2 ladders. It doesn't affect anything else we're doing. That's why I'm thinking, if it makes sense, we go through the same evaluation with the DeWitt truck as we did with the Cody truck. Send it to the engine shop, send it to our fireplace, and get a true evaluation. If it comes back and says it's a no-go, then it's a no-go. If it comes back like it did with Cody, we might be able to handle the 3 problems with the 1 money that we talked about. Just a thought, but we gotta do something regarding Moyer's Corners because we're running into the fact where we're gonna have to start paying rent. So I think we should discuss it.
Where is it going to leave us financially with the money that we
That's
supposedly have?
those values.
We go up, we go fast, we go up with money. Is that coming from other places, or is that coming out of truck fund, or?
It's not coming out of truck fund, it's
Coming
coming
out
out
of
of building.
regular operating. Right around 150,000. I just have my concerns with we're buying a Cody truck and you're buying the DeWitt truck, which is a 97. Then if you go and you take any money, we'll say there's 150,000 and you spend 50,000 altogether for these 2 trucks. That leaves $100,000. If you go and spend that $100,000 for squads, and these trucks don't make the 3 to 5 year, you're now way in the hole. Because now you haven't put any money in your truck fund.
There's a
You're in the hole.
calculated risk, I'm not disagreeing with you. There's a calculated risk here. Absolutely, your valid concern. But I don't think we're gonna get another year out of the squad, which we don't even have that anywhere in our replacement plan. Where, then I misspoke, where was that slated to be replaced?
This year,
This year.
which we'd have to put off for a couple, at least another year.
Okay, and misspoke on that. Take the squad out, we still gotta give them 2 engines. We got them one now.
That's what,
I mean,
if you
Jack's
want, that's
not,
what the needs are, then then I would say have the DeWitt truck evaluated and make an informed decision after we have it looked at.
He's gonna let me know tomorrow after his work.
Didn't you say, oh, that was the Auburn truck you said was rusted?
Yeah, and it's a similar truck, but it's in good shape. I mean, it's taking care of mechanic and the body just looks like it never, we backed it in the station, we had excellent, wasn't beat that bad. Actually, it's the basic city truck that was beat.
what'd you say?
It's early 2021 is according to this.
That's why,
We're gonna have to,
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
Have we taken that squad and had it evaluated, and what it would cost to put a new body on, a new box on the back, if there's nothing wrong with the cab and that?
we could get a price on a body,
I-
that's
just
easy. I
asking.
mean, but
the only thing is that was a used truck when we got it.
what year is it, do you guys remember?
2001.
2000.
1999.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the turbo goes and we're, yeah, I don't know if that's, I mean, you can get a price, I bet you can get a box for 12, 13,000 bucks from Appahide or Reading or any of those. Not including.
I guess my question would be is, when I was at the show, there was a company there, and I got the card, and I was gonna give it to you, and I forgot it, but they build bodies. My question would be is, if we went and we bought a body, put it on there, and got 3 years out of the squad, then when you went to buy again, you would take the body, and all you'd have to buy is a truck and just a cabin frame, and move the body from the old truck to the new
Yeah,
truck.
if you went with a rescue, there's companies called TriStar.
I don't know, it was at the show.
If
and he was
if
just
you
showing it.
bought a true rescue body, then I would say, yes, it's a viable option. If you're just talking a Reading body or an Appahide body.
No,
That
this
is
was,
not.
this was with pull-out drawers, and he said if you brought your truck to him, he would look at it, and then you could talk to him and say, now in 2 years, if we go to a F-350,
It's doable. They do it every single day. They do it at John Bray's place, they do it at Churchville Place, they do it at Jerome. They re-chassis all over the place. North Bay,
I mean, I got the impression from what money that truck is beat.
it is. With the cross members, that's why we had to take some of the equipment out of the rear compartments because it was falling through.
I mean, that's an option. Nobody's still got their own truck. I guess they're all.
Yeah, that's the pickle that we're in. Maybe we handle this one at a time. We took care of the Cody engine last month. Let's take care of this engine this month. If we want to run some, look for a body, look for a chassis, then look for a truck. Then we have 3 options to discuss. This is what it's going to cost for the rescue body on an old truck. This is the cost of the rescue body on a new truck. And we'll have 3 options to pick from and see what makes sense.
Well, I will tell you, if you buy a squad, if you don't go through, don't take this the wrong way, you don't go through Jerome's or JPB, and you go directly to Ford and you bid a F-350, and then you bid the box, and you put the project together yourself, you will save anywhere between $30,000 to $40,000.
Again, long as it's done right, I don't care who gets it.
I mean, that's what we did with Rescue 7. I mean, is it right? Yeah, Rescue 7 out in Lysander. That's what we did with that. We just went and we did state bid for the body and the chassis, and then we went and found a company that built the box, and we just,
I know right now multiple departments that buy the chassis off the state bid themselves. Multiple, it happens all the time. Westman Road just did it. They bought a chassis from Coons, and they bought a body, and then had one of the fireplaces put it together. I mean, it happens. So I guess let's go back to the engine. You know, what do you want to do? We gotta move on it, though. We're not being fair to Mortgage Corners.
what does it cost if we keep it? $200? Is it $200 a month or $200 a week? You sure it's a week?
Honestly, they're not pushing it, Jack. They're just not, but I just don't want to become greedy. It's not something I have to do today, but if you give me permission to have the DeWitt truck evaluated, I'll have that done in a week or two, maybe by the next meeting. I can call Mortgage Corners and let them know we're doing some evaluation, and then we could wrap this up.
I guess I would rather, if it comes down to spending $1,000 in a month for rental to Myers Corners, I would rather spend that $1,000 and look at the squad and the engines all in one package and make a decision than to rush into getting a DeWitt truck and then buying a squad that doesn't fit. I'd like to see the whole picture, because you gotta look, the next 5 years with the truck thing is gonna be tight.
It's not hard to get the numbers. It's not, we can
I
get
mean, I don't have a problem evaluating the truck. I understand what you're saying, because I would rather have it evaluated than just buy a truck and not have it evaluated, so.
Rescue Delta response,
It's also.
1190 vehicle on road.
No. There's, we have enough water in the district.
So let me have it evaluated, I'd like permission to do that. Okay. And we'll work on the squad too.
Could you do me a favor? Sure. Could you take the squad and get an evaluation from Jerome JP, I don't care, about the squad? So that when we make the decision, we tell the taxpayers we gotta do this, we've done our homework, we haven't. I
No
know
problem with
because Jack said it's left over to work, so we gotta have.
No problem with that at all.
That's what, 120?
Yes, ma'am.
It's been brought up a couple of times about PPE and getting new gear and us waiting to the last minute. And really what they're looking on is for us to put it out to bid. So I wrote up the resolution, put it out to bid. I have it set up for the notice to run, David's gonna have notice in the paper. But if you guys want to vote on it tonight, I did write up the resolution and bring it forward so we can start the process.
I did contact the county last week to send us a spec that's on state bid.
Orange one, the
Actually, the cars and tourniquet are on state bid. And you buy it through the county.
Sorry.
You would know.
You couldn't have,
If
I
we
have
ever get the
one. Oh, you got
information.
one? Oh, okay, I already gave you one. But I thought I had enough. All right, resolution, and you'll fill in the number for me, please. It is hereby resolved by the Board of Fire Commissioners of the Northwest Fire District that whereas the Board has determined that there is a need to acquire additional sets of personal protective gear for the volunteer firefighters of the Northwest Fire District, and whereas the Board of Fire Commissioners have determined the cost of said purchase will be in excess of $20,000 for any one calendar year, therefore it is resolved to submit for competitive bid pursuant to Section 103 of the General Municipal Law the acquisition of 10 sets of personal protective gear for the volunteer firefighters, and further that a notice to bidders be published in the official newspaper of the fire district as soon as possible, indicating that bids must be submitted in writing to the Board of Fire Commissioners by 5 p.m. on the 13th day of August 2019, at which time all bids will be opened at 7 p.m. The Board of Fire Commissioners hereby reserve the right to reject all bids relative to the acquisition of the aforementioned turnout gear and reserves the right to rebid if necessary. This resolution having been adopted by the Commissioners herein listed at the district's regular scheduled meeting on July 23rd, 2019.
On the vote, Becky?
Yes.
Tony?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Jack?
Yeah.
district deputy chief and assistant chief policy.
Like you said, squad two, right?
I think it's held over from last month.
I don't even have that one.
Do we want to discuss it? Do we want to hold off on it?
Did the questions that were brought up at the meeting ever get asked to the attorney? Wasn't the questions from,
We need to review town law zones and the levels.
It's all returning.
So
No returning.
there's some concerns with how the levels are set up.
No returns are clear,
So
Jordan
we need to
transport, you go and close it.
Review the levels, which one of the things is
March
presented
22 is
about
up here.
the changes that he presented a year ago,
Which we also.
6 months ago, which is a little bit later on the agenda. We can pull them out now if we want to. We did send the policy to the attorney, and he said it was fine. He didn't have any real problems with it. The only things that we came up with was, and that he said too, was the voting has to fall within town law 17611B, which says it has to be like the first Thursday after the second Tuesday, or the first Saturday after the third there's a whole, I can't
that's all
remember.
gotta be reworked.
So we've all got to be reworked to include that specification in there. The other thing that we have to think about, which I didn't really realize, but it was brought to my attention afterwards, that the zones were
Like you said,
created
squad two's right next to
and that
it.
all individuals live within the zones, so we're limiting membership, so we need to somehow rework that. So
Or, no, don't like
the
all the
membership
yard.
as to
Don't play false card too.
so that's kind of where
Joe, thank you, I'm just going out, girl.
we're at. Progress, there you go. I guess I could have just said that. Run max attendance kiosks.
So I brought it up at the budget meeting, and we're gonna bring it up, and I'll make sure everybody has one. The finger readers that we have were piecemeal together. I think they're 4 years old now. There are some issues with them. Alpine has a standalone unit that does the same thing, and it's all programmed, and it's done by them. It's a touch computer with Windows 10, touch screen. It's all here. I wanted to put it in the budget for next year, but I'd like everybody to look at it. It's about $13,000 to replace all 5 of them. The laptops that are there, we could take them out and use them for training or whatever else we want to use them for. But if there's enough money around, Becky said, you know, that maybe we should present it so that everybody's got it. I don't know. I don't think
I think we have this from,
yeah, I don't think Tom has one, and I don't think Tony has one.
okay, I was gonna say, it looks really familiar.
I had it at the budget
Okay.
meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had it at the budget meeting. So I'd like everybody to look at it as time goes on, and we get into the fall months and that's all. That's all that was about.
Does this work the same? or-
Yeah, it works identical. It's just that it's, remember years ago, they used to have the old Pac-Man things that are about this big, you put them on a table and you can, that's what, it's all in a case. The finger reader is built in. They now also have it that, I don't know if our key fobs will work. They may have altered the programming that you might even be able to use, not only the finger, but for those people that have a problem with the finger reader, they can use a key fob. So that's what that's about.
Chief's vehicles.
All right. I did meet with Tom a long while back, a couple of months ago, over the chief's vehicles. We redid the spec. One of the things that was a real problem was the lighting package. And when you bid the truck, if you get a dealer from Watertown or Albany or something, and they use a local person to do the lighting package isn't warrantyable through the Ford dealer or Chevy dealer. So we made the decision to take the lighting package off the bid. So all you're getting the bid, stepped in, Tom, if
No,
I'm
that's
wrong.
right.
I went through the thing again today. So we did that, we took that off. We put in a couple of changes. One of the changes was the Bluetooth. It will be factory installed where any dealer can provide service. And that's what happened this time. They upfitted it out there in one of their shops. Well, the shop here said, well, they upfitted it, it's not a Ford. So if they can't supply with a Ford or Chevy or whoever we buy the truck from, you gotta be able to take it to any dealer to get it fixed. So that's in here. I put a notice to bidders in here. I did not put any dates on it because it just didn't make sense to me. But there's the final one, and
Jack, is there a radius of the upfitter for the light, for example? I don't think we want to accept a bid from an upfitter in Buffalo.
oh yeah, well, the thing of it is, I called Belgium and talked to what's his name over there?
Jerry?
Jerry, and what they did is, once they bid the truck, they just went out and they just got local quotes for the lighting package. So that's
So
what
how
we
about
did.
locally?
Yeah, as long as they're local, that's what I'm
There's at
concerned
least 3
about.
vendors locally that do that.
Yeah, so I did put in there the exact one that we made for the trucks that are there. I mean, if that needs to be altered, that can be altered at a later date, because we can always do that afterwards. So, did everybody get one? There was some talk about the Ford Inceptors. So what I did is I did track it down to make sure. And they are being made. If anybody would like to, here's some, I got sent these photographs of them. Not that we're buying a Ford, that's not my point, but everybody said, well, we can't get the same thing. There's some, if you want, everybody take some of them. And then this is the 2020 Police Inceptor Utility. Some of the major changes from the ones we have now to this is it has a full frame now, it's not unibody. They took the unibody away from it. There's several other features in there that it has now that aren't on these. Oh, I know, the other thing that we put in the bid spec was a set of snow tires. That's in there. You get the regular, whatever tires come with it, then we want a set of snow tires. So. And there's the spec for that, so when we get down the road, if anybody wants to know, there's the, Tony and you guys that want to look at that. So that's where that stands. I don't know if you just want to put it out to bid right now, or you want to wait and kind of incorporate that into this whole discussion of trucks. That's fine with me.
Correct me if I'm wrong, this was budgeted, correct? This has already been budgeted?
It's supposed to be in the truck one. Correct. Up to, I think, right around 40, 42, 43. My understanding is that with this one here, I think we bought them for 37 complete. I think the truck wasn't that much. That the guy thought they may get close to 40. So you're probably talking $42,000 to $44,000. I don't know if Chevy is going to offer anything with their Blazer. We did get some pricing on other, when we bid it, we got bids on other kinds of trucks at the same time. And it's a matter of looking at it and deciding what you want. But you can't decide what you want unless you put out bids and you get packet answers back. That's that.
Well, I'd say it was a budgeted item, we knew we were gonna have to replace some of the chief's vehicles, so I would suggest having it written up and all the dates and everything put in, and we can vote on it at the August meeting.
Okay. I'll get that to Megan. She's better with putting the right dates in.
Also on chief's vehicles, the 3 chief's vehicles have been recalled by Ford. They notified the other chiefs. It's a minor recall the problem. Notified her that she's got to make their own appointments, but I wasn't going to make appointments with 3 people that I don't know checking. So I'm going to Thursday for mine. I'm also, I haven't looked at it because I think I got rotor problems with my brakes.
Stop speeding. That's stop speeding.
You follow me,
Okay, moving on, Lysander pavement.
All right, as y'all know, I got the Lysander Station pavement, a quote from a guy. During our time with the Jeff Smith, there is available, and we could find $50,000. I would like to bid the pavement for Lysander. If it comes in at $70,000, $80,000, well then we can't, but I already know, we already have one guy that come out and quoted it, but I can't accept the quote. It has to be a sealed bid. But I felt if we put it out there and the bid came back for the $49,000 or $47,000, I think we should move on paving that parking lot out there. It just creates a terrible problem with the run across, the way that the pavement, the new pavement sets. I just think it would.
Is the whole lot both sides?
Yeah, what it is, it's, they're gonna, it would be cut out right to the edge of the road, that pavement that somebody did for us.
Testing for
The winter.
The town did.
The town did, we'll cut that out, and there'll be new pavement from there all the way to the concrete pad, which would be 60 by 50 from the garage door entry apron to the roadway. And then the rest of it would be 2.5-inch 6 asphalt, and all material compacted to $20,000. And what it would do is at the end of the station, where that generator is in that building, it would stop there. But then at the end of the station, there's a 50 by 60 foot, he called it, I'm calling it the shed area, to receive 4 inches of 70-ton crushed limestone to be graded and compact. And the thought behind that is in wintertime, you could be able to plow around the corner and start pushing it off in there where the gravel is and keep it off the pavement. And then in the summertime, you'd have, it'd still be parking. And it includes lining, putting the lines in and all that.
Is that, as you look at the station, how about the right side? When it needs to be done?
Yep, the whole thing, all the way from the tree line
Okay.
to the tunnel bar.
Okay.
Everything, all the way around the, either east side, around the front, and then there'd be the 3.5 inches right in the front where the trucks would come in and turn around to back in. That would be the thicker concrete.
Where is this money coming from? You didn't budget it.
We didn't budget it, but we have a little bit extra left over from some overpayments that we budgeted for,
Okay.
like the cancer bill. So we know what the money, we know what the number is that we have, so if they can hit that number, great. If they can't, then we won't do it. I mean, it's bottom line. So I suggest writing up the bid, sending the bid out, and see where it comes back.
There's some typos in that on it, but it gives you all the guess, The only thing that's missing on here that I missed was the lining, and I have to make sure that it's correct.
This is what I have to put into the paper. Just make sure I've got dates in there. Oh, you got dates for the next.
Yeah, I stuck some dates in there.
Okay.
I don't know if they're any good, but I mean, it's just if we're gonna do it, we should do it and get it done sometime in August, so it has you know, September and October to set up pretty good.
All right.
Question,
Yes.
what's in this that's gonna fix the water issue? It's in that upper corner.
What do you mean, upper corner? Over toward the town
If you
barn?
stand and face the firehouse from Lamson Road, the left-hand side always has a giant
Well,
pool.
they'll grade that off, and it'll be raised up, so it'll be graded off, so the water will run around, it'll be where it's supposed to be.
But that's worked in here so
Yeah.
that that happens?
Yeah. The water won't lay up there, lay down in there in the hole. Because I mentioned that to him, and he said, well, what we do is when we grade it, we'll grade that higher, that end will be higher. What we'll have to do though is probably maybe put some, during the summertime, you're gonna have to put some like road tire bump things up there, because it will be a little lip off the end of it. So people don't drive in there in the winter, in summer and sink out of sight. And when they come out to look at it, we'll just double check with everybody and make sure that they understand that. And like Becky said, if it comes back and they all change their minds and say, well, we gotta do this, this, and this, then it's just reject all the bids and we'll have a much better idea and then try to figure out how we're gonna do it.
All right, last item on the agenda is the chief's policies that we all received, or should have received in email.
There was a question a few months ago about policies that were set out for everybody. And it was simply a little premature. My man in Kuwait was doing policies for me, and he sent draft copies for us to look over. They were not policies at the time. And so their internal policies pretty much from a bunch of different things that I wanted you to be aware of. I'll probably be putting those in place in the next month or two. But I also put in there for your review, I had sent you a couple, maybe over a year ago, a better definition of categories and levels, only because the question came up here, how do you get to a level 1 or class A, how do you get to level 2 and all that. And so actually I took this from another department that lists how they determine what level you're in. It's mostly by medical, or you can request services. If you get a chance to look them over, or if you have any questions about them, we're just putting things into procedures. And the reason they're chief's policies is that I don't want them to be SOGs because they're subject to change or can be subject to change. And I don't want to go through a revision or every time something changes or somebody sits in this chair besides me. These were policies that I come up with that I thought were necessary. And a lot of it has to do with cancer bill and taking care of yourself. Deconning, apparatus deconning yourself after a fire pump. And I have to give the credit to Chief John Barrett of Cicero because I stole it from him. Actually, we shared stuff, so figured why reinvent the wheel when you'd already put a policy together that seems to be working pretty good for you. So that's where a lot of the ones on decontamination came from. But it's good practice for us to do this. So we've already bought some of the kind of equipment with the truck.
Back that up, give it more meat than just us. Under NFPA 1403's live burn policy, it just went into effect. You will decon after every live burn. You're supposed to, quite honestly, it gets in depth, like when we do a fire. Before they get back into the truck, they're supposed to completely decon. And it's not an expensive, it's a 5-gallon bucket, a bottle of Dawn dish detergent and a brush. But it's good, it goes right along that. I just went through the whole program I took last month.
Yeah, actually, the equipment needed is listed as part of the policy.
Well, we bought all that stuff. It's already on the truck.
We already got the.
Yeah, I get it.
I'll speak up. I have no problem with all them, that part of it, econ, and whether you take a ladder off this way or that way. My only thing is making a car 5 or the levels a chief's policy. Because like you made the comment,
I'm not necessarily in the levels or chief's policy, I'm just put them up, that's what I put out to you people a couple of years ago for a comment, and I never got comment. The levels is not a policy.
Okay, all right, and I misread your note. I was under the impression that you making car 5 a chief's policy and the levels a chief policy.
No, levels are
Gotcha.
up for discussion.
Gotcha. That was my mistake. I got it wrong. Because that's something that affects the members, and it should be in the rules and regulations so that when you and I aren't here, it's not something that can be just changed by one person saying, hey, I want to change all these levels around.
Which one of these is the one?
That was what I sent you before, and then we just put it in the policy.
NRS early response 65.
Because they're a little bit different, I just didn't know which one I was supposed to be looking at, okay. So, I'll tackle the car 5 one. It can be brought to the board as a policy. The board can vote on it. We can adopt it or not adopt it, and put it into our policies.
See, 3-year-old male illness abnormal
That's
breathing.
technically, the board is the only governing body that can make the policies. So if we want to go forward with this, that's what would have to be done.
I see it really quick. Because I think we need to put it to bed.
Again, levels, same kind of thing, which I think this is great clarification that we can just add to what we already have.
That was my purpose for that, was not to make it a policy.
Right, but when we have the levels in our policy, so we can just incorporate this into that policy that's already there. We can just add that as clarification, which is easy enough. The rest of the stuff, I totally agree with Jack, and is like the decontamination of the fire scenes, that stuff, those aren't technically policies. Well, I guess it's maybe a procedural policy, and that's fine if you want to institute those things. I don't have an issue with any of those. Washing the gear. Page 2.
Wait, there's nothing new to that at all. It's the same policy as the most recent.
I have 2 car 5 position things. One of them is just purpose, and then the next one that you gave us was, it's actually written up. Is it them the same?
The one I gave you, the one you asked me about at the last meeting that I told you I had sent you, those over a year ago.
This is the one you
I just
sent?
merely copied that and gave it to you. In my explanation, I said, since I gave you that a couple of years ago, it has since been proceduralized. So you've got the old one that you requested that I had sent out on the levels and the car 5 thing over a year ago, and everybody said they didn't get it, so I sent it out again, and in my notes I said, this has been proceduralized since you got the original guy.
Okay, I think I got it now. I did not bring the one that the district wrote up, that we went by 2 years ago. But it pretty much mirrors that, other than at the January meeting, the chief notifies us of the names of the people, how you rotate them, how you use them, I don't care about that. So that we, the board, approve Rick Ravis to run the chief's car.
So you just put the captains and then the past chiefs, then you got it fixed. Captains and the past chiefs.
Just
We
ask,
just have to do it every January.
Every January.
They have to be voted on, just like the regular chiefs
You
do.
just absolutely put it right on the agenda,
Mea
right?
culpa, mea culpa. I forgot to do it this year.
Yeah, so we can,
you just put it in the policy that the district chief will notify the board at the organizational meeting that the names of the captains and the past chiefs that will be running the car by.
can we make that, can we vote on that as a procedure now, or policy, or do you have to wait?
You have to read it when it's complete.
Choking,
Yeah,
3-year-old choking.
so if you want to have you or Derek make the update, just add that one sentence in, and then we can read it and vote on it.
Cool. And then add the names that night.
When did we vote?
Gotcha.
It has to be
Yeah.
voted at a meeting, so in the August meeting, we'll have to read it, and then the following month, we can vote on it.
Okay, gotcha.
I know what you think.
So as far as the levels, does anybody have any questions or comments they want in addition to the levels? Did everybody take a look at them?
As I say, when I sent that to you a while ago, it was just ideas that I had picked up. Wanted to change that whatsoever, but I was getting a lot of questions on how you get to certain levels, so. And I believe at the time we even sent it to Jan, but I don't know if she ever commented on it.
I know my biggest concern with the levels are, levels, and I use 3s and 4s are significantly different between Lysander Company and Balzer Company. You can't have that anymore. It's gotta be consistent across the board. No
Hold
exceptions.
off, squad one coming out with me. 1947. No engine 13-0. No engine 13-0.
And, I mean, however we do it. But
I don't have an issue with the levels, it just seems like people move from level to level, and it's who decides, and
they do.
how does it happen, and, you know, it just
Certainly.
seems like, one month you're a 2, the next month you're a 1, then you go down to a 3.
It happens, it's based on multiple factors. If you are in trouble with trainings, they.
How do we keep track of people, so that in February, I'm a 1, and 2 months later, I'm a 3, and you didn't know it, and I got hurt, and
But
Yeah,
is that
You gotta put some teeth in there that you just can't drop a level on your own. You gotta either put in a different level by the nurse, or you've gotta request a level change to the chiefs.
I get all that, but we as the commissioners, we can't keep track of 150 people bouncing around from level to level.
I'm not saying we have to, but
But-
like the chief said, there's gotta be a process how it happens.
I got that.
And we need to be notified at least, or at least making it sound.
I don't know, because if you miss a training or a couple trainings, all of a sudden you're dropped from level 1 to 4.
No
because-
engine 13-0.
So then you make your trainings back up, and then you get your mass back, so then you're level 1.
It's already in the minutes. Ain't it at the end of the minutes, it says status change, or?
Yeah, but nobody ever notified me.
Yeah, I would say that
Well, I'm just
doesn't happen.
saying, it's already there for it to be read and put in the minutes, so everybody's covered. It's just a matter of somebody notifying Megan and saying, hey, this month on the agenda, I moved Jack Klein from a level 2 to a level 4. You don't have to put the reason, because it could be medical, and you can't do that. But it could be, when it says status change, Jack Klein from a level 2 to a level 4. Now we know, and everybody should know. But as far as notifying every one of the members, I don't know how you would do that.
Well, right now,
Everybody remembers, I want us to know.
Well, that's how we would have to know.
well, right now, at the end of a physical night, Roxanne notifies the chiefs of, you passed your physical, you didn't pass your physical. John Jones passed his physical level 1. Sam Smith passed his physical level 4.
Those are the only times I see level changes.
Okay.
On the physical paperwork, that's
Okay.
when I change.
You get a copy of that? Okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong, do you the district chief, don't you tell people what level they are?
Yeah, well, I'm supposed to, but sometimes I've had 2 or 3, all of a sudden, they're in a different level.
Absolutely, so
They say
my,
somebody told them they could.
do,
We
why,
have to
Well,
tell
then
them
maybe we
that.
make it very clear in the level policy that this is the person, the district chief is the person that sets the level, and you don't change unless you get approval by, with the exception of Jan in your physical,
Yeah.
that you don't just bounce up and down, that it has to be, whether you request it and it's approved by him, or he deems that you're not physically able, or whatever has happened, and you're not gonna be a level 1 anymore for whatever reason, and he takes you out of that.
I think the original one that I had that set the levels up years and years ago, it specified in there that almost every one of them levels, at the end of it, I think it said, ours said, the original one said, per the chief. You could just, after every one of those levels, you could add a sentence that says, you meet these per the district chief. I don't remember the exact wording.
I think that your idea is a better one. Put another sentence in there that
Yeah.
levels can only be changed by the department of parents or the fire chief.
Yeah, you put it at the beginning under purpose or
Well,
definition or
put it.
something.
Can we just be copied as a group? And even, can Roxy copy us?
Yeah.
So that we know who's coming in and what level they're at when they come in?
let me ask you kind of a bold question, but why do we, the 5 commissioners, care if somebody's a level 2 versus a 3? Or a 1 versus a 2? I mean, I know the differences, that's not what I'm saying, but why, it doesn't affect insurance.
Yes, it does.
No, they're all covered under insurance.
Yeah, no. Yeah, but you gotta remember, what happens if something gets changed and somebody's a 2 and somebody's a 1 and they move to a 2, and it's not in your minutes? So, that person gets hurt, the insurance company says, well, what was he doing in the fire? And they said, well, he wasn't a level 1, he's a level 2. We should have proof of what level numbers are and where they're going. We have it in Red MX, if it's kept up, it tells your levels, because you can print out all level 1.
I guess the best way to do it is just the chief approves it, and then just
Just
he
put it in the minutes,
notifies
right
us,
there.
Tony Max level 4. You know,
Everything's gotta be in the minutes.
Well, no, when Jan clears somebody, she clears them to their maximum level, not what level they're at. It's still determined by the district chief. So the email you get from Jan isn't what level they are. That's what the level they're capable of being.
Good point, good point, good point. So our communication could be coming from the district chief, he says this is what level you are. Good.
We'll make an update to that for the August meeting as well. And that is the end of our agenda, unless anyone has something else.
I have some. Jeff couldn't be here tonight, and he got a quote for bystander station 1 that he wanted me to pass on.
Is this the one that's gotta go to the insurance company?
It's whatever one you asked for.
Myself, rescue 1, 1954.
Oh. I think your printer went haywire.
When my printer, I made a copy.
No, I said, why? I said, looks like their printer went haywire.
That's the original, so you got the better of the.
Yeah, holy cow.
This is for the siding?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is what's on, this is the insurance coverage, covered by insurance.
so that gets returned over. Right, that's what gets turned in.
All it has to do is be given to Joanne, she calls, because the lady called her, and they may want something clear, and she may have to call our RLS and see if they can fax you a clear one, because there's, I can't even
Did Jeff
read
have it in
some.
the email? Or no, we
No,
just had it
not in my
written?
mailbox.
Or ask Jeff, I'm gonna do that to you, if you're dealing with the insurance. She's, the lady called you, said you, the minute you got the quote, to call her back.
This looks like a bad day at the eye doctor's.
Yeah, I'm on executive session for personnel issue. Can we do that here?
I have two quick things. The jaws of life, they have everything from the state giving us the money. They told me to go ahead and start pricing it out. So I got a generic spec. I did the best I could for them. I guess I have to give this to the chiefs and Tony and that, and if there's anything that you guys think is way out of whack or whatever, then we'll have to change it. But we definitely got to bid it. But the reason I want to bid it is we have $50,000. If we spend $57,000, it costs us $7,000. If we spend $48,000, it doesn't cost us anything. We're done. If we spend $65,000, it's going to cost us $15,000. So if this, I tried to use some of Jerome's stuff from the original one, came up 51,960. So here's the, I'll keep one of them. There's the spec that I have. I know they've looked at them and they've seen different kinds, but we gotta move on this because we gotta get out, we gotta get them
You
bid.
can look at this guy.
Yeah, we gotta order them and get them in and get an invoice to get it to the state to get our $50,000 back,
1957.
which hopefully the state will give us our money within a reasonable amount of time. And the other thing I have, and I already called Wayne, but I guess Wayne's gonna have to talk to the district chief and work with him. I sent in them DEC grants for $3,000 apiece. And I asked for wildfire gear. I checked with Tom. Tom thought it was a good idea because we were kind of rushed to get it in there. And we were approved for both of them. So we have, it's $3,000 for each one of them. I don't know what wildfire gear, Wayne got a couple of quick prices, and I think I got a quick price from Tom. We figured approximately 6 sets. But if that's the case, we gotta get it priced, and I believe we can just do this with quotes. I don't think we have to do bidding and all that, because there's only, I don't think this would fall under the, tournament gear thing. We shouldn't have to bid it. I don't know, originally Tom thought drivers, I don't know, whatever you guys, the chiefs think that you can get.
Well, I thought it would be a good way to try out equipment for scene support. If it works for scene support,
Whoever you
then we're not
decide.
spending a lot of money.
If it's, guys that are just scene support, like myself, when I was more active, or somebody like that, that's up to you. I sent it to Wayne. I meant to make copies of this for you, but I gotta keep this because it gives me the name of the, I have to work with Forest Ranger here on this. Same thing we did the last time. Remember we had to bring him in, we couldn't give it out until he came in, he looked at it and all that stuff, yeah. So we got that. It's $3,000, we gotta spend 6. That's all I have tonight.
Okay. I sent all the commissioners an email about this request I got from David Heitz at Bloomberg. Rick said he didn't feel comfortable with this either. I would like permission to run this by our attorney.
That's fine.
they would like 5 years of records, and truthfully, there is no AUD for 2014. We were not official at that point, but I would like to run this by Bill Young.
Anybody else on regular business? All right, then I am going to make a motion to go into executive
Control,
session.
Jordan MD1 responding.
And
Jordan,
employment
MD1
matter
responding.
for an individual. I think we're making any decisions?
No.
Okay, so we will not be making any decisions. Do I have a second